we have Mia Salsi, the director, and honestly, director's understatement because you did the full production, but in an AI world, this is now possible, of Saturn's Rings. And many of you have already watched it. If you want to actually just watch it without our commentary, then you can click the link in the description and just watch Saturn's Rings. But if you're here, you likely want some insight into how it was actually made. And honestly, it was not easy, but it was a lot of fun. And making high quality AI films requires the right mindset, the right technology, which the movie machine definitely is the centerpiece in that, but also knowing how to use it. And I think today Mia is going to give us a deep dive into how she made Saturn's Rings that I haven't even fully got. Like, I'm excited to get some peeks from the hood. But first, a lot of people have asked how much Saturn's Ring cost to make. So what I'm going to do is literally just share with you all my screen so you can see the project budget in Creatorwood. If you haven't made a project or a movie inside of Creatorwood yet, you may not know that you can click project details on a bad, click the settings icon. And when you click into this, you'll actually see how much coins were spent on the project, which was a little over 6,000 coins or $600. The film was just about 6 minutes long, a little under 6 minutes. So roughly $100 a minute. And you can see here where coins were actually spent, about 1,000 generating start frames and almost 5,000, just under 5,000 generating the actual video, which, I mean, Mia, when you were actually in the project, how did you think about coins? Like, I know we told you, like, you know, make this great, don't worry too much about budget, but I know you were still concerned. So how do you typically think about budget when you're inside of a project?
It's usually mostly concerned with videos, because those are the most expensive. So when I'm doing start frames, you know, I'm kind of pretty generous with because that's really, if I get that right, then I will have less money spent or coins spent on video generation. So, I mean, 1,000 for the frame generation, that's, you know, not that bad considering all the different frames I had to get. But if you're generous with that, then you'll have less to be spending on the video. So that's really what I'm thinking about is, okay, does this next little thing that I got to do to this, is it really worth one more generation? And usually the answer is yes, because that way my video will come out exactly how I want it.
And for perspective for folks, this is 1,000 coins spent on start frame generation, but this is across over 200 shots. There's, I think, a little over 220 in the actual projects. You know, you're still regenerating multiple times per frame, obviously, but it seems like your average was just under 5. And yeah, there's actually just a lot of shots that go into a short film because there's so many different camera movements. There's lots of different action going on, which you can actually see inside of Saturn's Rings. Now, obviously, we're going to dive into some of the specific scenes in a moment, but at a high level, how long did this take you, and over what duration did you complete this?
I think it was 5 or 6 days. I think I delivered on the 6th day, so it was really like 5 days of full-on production, and that was probably about a 10 to 12 hour day. My eyes get a little blurry after that, so a lot of times I push it sometimes to be longer, but if you schedule out 10 to 12 hours a day, that's probably about right. So it's probably, we guesstimated what, like 10 hours per finished minute.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But that was also included writing time.
Got it.
So the first day I was writing, so it was really like 4 days of production.
That's start to finish, idea to final story.
Completed, yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
that's the idea what came up on that day. You guys switched it on me, so I had to come up with a whole new story. So yeah, that was one whole day, probably about 6 hours of writing, and then the next 4 days of diving in, getting it right.
You know, for folks who are like, wait, what exactly happened here and why did Mia do this? Mia is our creative director at Creatorwood, and most of the time, I mean, her roles evolved, but in the beginning, she was helping out with a lot of client productions and making sure that those projects were going off smoothly. And then her role evolved and still is mostly focused on just making the movie machine better, making sure the prompting behind the scenes, how we're doing consistency, continuity. When you see a lot of big movie machine improvements, it's oftentimes starting from Mia's mind, working with Sashva and our engineering team to actually bring it to life. And what we finally did here is said, Mia, we haven't intentionally as a team really tried to make something with honestly high quality from beginning to end. We've just been fixing problems and putting out fires here and there. Let's make something that's high quality from beginning to end. So this is kind of what you see. And right now it's the process that it would take. Realistically, if not in fact, for many of you who haven't used the machine as much as Mia, you'll probably spend a little bit longer to get something out of similar quality. But ideally, as you get better at this over time, and the machine gets better, things will start to speed up and get faster. But kind of is wild that just 1 week of one person's work, a busy week, albeit, that you went from idea to like a finished short film. That's in and of itself, a year ago would have been considered insane, absolutely insane. Now, let's dive into the actual film. I want to open up, we'll watch it, and I want to pause and ask you some questions. And you can feel free, Mia, just jump in if you have anything yourself. But let's share screen. Can you see right now?
Well, I do want to say, I can totally see it, but I want to say one thing is that we do have some promising stuff happening with continuity. So that's coming down the pipeline.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I mean, like what's great is like the next film is going to be even better, cheaper, and faster to make. And it's only, we're only going to keep, it only goes up from here. So let's start playing Saturn's Rings. And I love this opening because you're thrown into it and it's so cinematic.
Pause there for a second. That was really difficult to get him to walk down that walkway.
Really?
Yeah. You have to be like, I had to be very precise with the wording to get him on the walkway, because
I've been
in between those two handrails is the prompt I had to use. He had to be placed because it kept wanting to put him on the hub part. It kept putting him there and not behind the rail. So it took me a minute to get that where he was actually walking down the walkway. And then getting him running back the other way was difficult as well.
Oh, I can see you regenerated this for
it was
almost 10 times.
Yeah,
let's see.
Some of them were really difficult, like the other one I'll point it out later, but yeah, some of them were very difficult. Oh, the other thing was that it kept hallucinating. The thing that he's carrying is a camera, and it kept adding pieces to it.
Oh, wow. In the actual video. So the start frame, let's watch it. I'm so curious to see.
So when he sets it down, you see how it all of a sudden had a bottom, and he set it down. Boom, grew it.
Oh, wow.
It grew it from his leg. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
He kept ignoring the handrail there and just walking right through it. Boom.
Yeah, okay.
Rail, I can walk through walls.
And this one is, wow.
Same thing. It was difficult to get him to walk off the edge at the end. So yeah. You see the actual prompts are I kept trying to get him not to walk through the handrail.
So in the description of this show, we're going to link actually to the project that Mia was on. So you can actually view it as a viewer if you want to look at all the shots, if you want to look at all the prompts, if you want to see everything that was done, you can click link in the description. Either we'll have it so that you can go into the project yourself, or you can email us to request access. We'll include that below. So, we can only dive into so many shots live in the director's cut here, but you can go through and look at the troubleshooting process yourself, which I'm curious for you, Mia. Obviously, I can see how you are iterating and trying to get the machine to give you a better video when it's not getting you what you want. When you first see a shot like this, I know many folks and look, I get it. The initial reaction is to be frustrated and sometimes stop or go, wait, this isn't working. But obviously for you, you were able to troubleshoot this, and it took 8 tries, but you got the shot you wanted in the end, which is a reminder, folks, this was the ending shot, I think.
Yeah. Finally got him to go off the end and put the camera in the correct place. The final cut itself, I used a few of these because I got him at the first part walking, and then I cut to a different shot and have him walking off. So
yeah,
I was able to elongate it as well because he was reaching it far too quickly.
That's so smart, because I can see here too, like this one, his face is in the beginning of the shot, and then it
Yeah,
takes face
it just
away.
goes away.
So yeah, that's obviously, not consistent. It's not it's continuity error. That's just so weird. But I see now bringing two of these shots, because you don't need to get the perfect shot. You just need to bring two shots together in a way that's going to
The
get
intercut with Saturn, that he looks at Saturn, and then I cut to Saturn, and then it came back for him to kneel down.
So when you're actually going through these shots, how are you thinking about changing the prompt? Because obviously you're not just like clicking the same button again 8 times. You're adjusting what you want it to do. So how do you actually go through and go, okay, how do I tell it to do what I want when it's not giving what I want?
I have to read it over and over again and try and figure out why he kept ignoring the handrails. And it ended up being one word, left. The word left kept, where he says he turns the camera pod upright right there. You see where it says that?
Yeah.
Okay, right before that, let's see. Takes 2 more deliberate steps. That one right there. He takes 2 more deliberate steps, and turns left, because in the Saturn shot he had to be facing left. And right there is where it said left. And as soon as I took the word left away, he stopped going off the side.
Oh, wow.
So he was just going left a little too soon. So yeah. But yeah, it was one word, and I had to figure that out. So right there it says takes frame left, right there. Left, takes 2 steps and kneels down. And that's what did it. Taking that part out, I got him to go off the end instead of going left.
Wow. I mean, at that point, it really is just trial and error.
Yeah, that and starting to figure out really how literal you have to be, because just one word can throw you off, and the word left was what it was, and it took me a few tries to figure that out. I was like, well, I need him to turn left, but yeah, it wanted that word gone, and as soon as I took it away, he went straight.
What a shot.
Yeah.
Let's pull back up.
I want to point out, like, that whole thing took $600 to make, but could you imagine trying to make that in real life? How much that would cost for a set like that, and the amount of different shots? This would have been easily a few $100,000.
Oh, yeah.
For 6 minutes.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, it's remarkable. It's literally 1,000 times cheaper right now, and probably 1,000 times easier too, because I can't even imagine how never mind the number of people involved. There's so much that would need to happen, and these shots, just like some shots are difficult to get in AI, many shots are difficult to get in traditional production.
Yeah, and the scenes that are coming up where he's flying around, that would have involved rigging and all that kind of stuff. So it would have been a very expensive 6 minutes.
It certainly would have, and we'll get to the flying soon.
Micro debris warning.
That was actually
incoming debris.
I'm curious about the audio, because we're right about to start hearing the music playing now. I'll play it a little bit.
Report.
So obviously we hear music, and we also had that ambient noise, ambient music track in the beginning as well. How do you approach getting the sounds? Is all of this coming from the movie machine? Are you pulling in sounds from elsewhere sometimes? And then how are you actually mixing it together in the editing process? Because a lot of things that I see from folks will complain, okay, my music's too loud, what do I do? Or my music's too soft. And being able to adjust these things and knowing how to layer them together is very hard. But clearly you have a lot of different things going on here. So what are your different audio tracks, and where were you getting them from?
Okay. Usually I provide my own. I use all the ones the movie machine gives me. And also the movie machine has a media maker, so you can type in whatever sound effect you want and it will make it. Sometimes they're really good and sometimes they just suck. So I tend to either make my own or use whatever they give me, because a lot of times they're pretty spot on when the movie machine is making the clips. but I also provide my own music or my own drones. I have a lot of drones that I've had for years. So I use my own library of those. But the making of in that area where there's the movie media maker, that helps tremendously. If you have a sound effect that you need, you just type in what you want and it gives you however long duration too, because you can set the duration. So I use that, and in my timeline of when I'm editing, I always have probably 2 audio channels of music, at the very minimum 2 for sound effects, and then 1 for dialogue. And I use DaVinci right now because the movie machine editor is still not up to snuff. I mean, you can get a rough cut out of it, but fine tuning takes a bit to get out of there. So I use DaVinci. It's free and you can download it for free, and it's a very powerful editor. So in that, most of my different tracks, sometimes I have like 7 different tracks, especially in that scene where he is running, and there's a lot going on. There's smashes and footsteps things, and there's debris flying. There's a lot of sound effects that go into that. So I think I had like 7 tracks of audio for that.
Wow. So let's start with drones.
Mm-hmm.
What is drones for folks who might not know?
Well, those are like that ambient noise that was under the first part, like that kind of stuff. I have a bunch of those, and I also, like, whenever I hear an interesting one, I usually download it because I like drones. I like the ambient noise of them because they're very useful, especially like for things like this, where a lot of times you don't want audio when it's silent in space, but even silence has a noise to it. If you've ever just sat there in silence and plugged your ears, you always hear or something. So I like to have any kind of drones under stuff. Makes it more realistic to me. Agreed.
Yeah, no, it was kind of it's part of what made it so cinematic in the opening was the drones, because it was like takes you back and just forces you to appreciate the expanse of it all. And with that, you said 7 tracks. So right here, you've got in the movie machine editor, I know you're using DaVinci Resolve to edit, but the movie machine editor, you're getting 3 tracks in the movie machine. You're getting here, dialogue, which in this case, there wasn't any. Then you're getting the sound effects, which is the faint hum of life support, and then any ambient noise, which I think here is pretty minimal ambient noise. So you're then going in and adding in your own audio tracks of drones, occasionally other background music, other sound effects, and you're getting all the way up to 7. That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I've had many short films that had, it just depends on what's going on in the shot, where sometimes you have a lot of audio that needs to go in to make it sound correct. And I'm always like paying attention to what they're touching, what they're doing. If something brushes up against something, I put that sound in there because that brings it to life. And if you don't have that, it kind of stays stale, in my opinion.
So what's your checklist for like making a great soundscape? Because for visuals, it's visual in nature, but I think it's intuitive to go, okay, does the character look the same beginning and ending the shot? Does the environment look the same? Are there any inconsistencies? Is the action logical? Like, when they touch and pick up something, does it move, and does it move in the right direction? With the soundscape, there's all these similar things to look at or really listen to. So are you listening for what people are touching? People are saying things. How about things like music and ambient noise? Because that's not as obvious on screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything that I see visually, even if it's people walking by, you'll hear in the background, you'll hear these little tiny noises, and every single little tiny noise is a track. So I end up having several different tracks depending on what's going on in there. But the visual, if you look at what's on the screen right now, it's just space. There's really nothing that you would hear in the vacuum of space. So that's why I put in the drone, because to me, silence is very loud. If I plug my ears, it's very loud to me. So I like to put stuff in that brings any sort of element that's in the visual to life. So that's usually what I'm thinking. If they are touching something and it's not like, if I'm touching a cup that's plastic and I've got a metal sound, it's going to throw you out of the realism, and you're not going to believe the story. Not that you would believe that this guy stayed out in a debris storm, but you have that suspension of disbelief. But if you don't have the correct sound, it throws you out of that really quickly.
Now, let's keep watching here, and we'll keep paying attention to the sound, because the sound definitely ratchets it up here. Oh, buffering.
Your ass inside.
Can you repeat that? I need confirmation on that valve. Oxygen levels critical. Elias, do you read me? Elias, answer me, goddamn.
Yeah, I'm here. I hear you.
There is so much there. I adore that sequence. It's amazing. Obviously, in the beginning, we were talking about ambient noise, got the sound effects, and I can hear now watching this, it's probably obvious to folks, literally every little thing that happened on screen, a little thing. I mean, there's so much happening, but you not only hear the explosion of, okay, bang, big meteorite collides with him, but you also have all the other little rocks colliding with the spaceship. You can hear just everything, right? It was great. But you also have the music coming in. And I'm curious, what made you introduce the music? Because I know right now the Movie Machine is going to be adding in much better music features over the coming months, but I know you didn't get that music from the Movie Machine for this film. And even if you did, I know that it was an intentional choice for you to say, oh, music starts now. And as I noticed, you also cut it in a very specific part of the scene. So I'm very curious how you handled the music there, because that's something that really can bring a film to life, but obviously is something that you have to be intentional about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now I brought it in at that specific moment to basically get your heart pumping. I wanted music fast paced because he's really trying to hurry to get out of the debris, because that could kill you. So yeah, I wanted it loud and I wanted it fast. Then when he slams into the side and it crunches his tether where he can't breathe, I wanted it to slowly fade out, because when you're losing consciousness, you basically, things start to fade away, especially if you can't breathe. It's not, and I'm sure that all of us have witnessed that when you're choking on something or you swallowed your own spit, where everything just kind of fades out slowly, because you're more concerned with your breath than anything. And that's what I wanted to that's why I dipped it down where I did, to bring that. You're basically now in his helmet. You are living his own fading from reality, basically. So that's why I wanted to dip down the loud noise and just have him fade into that. You think he's about to die, and then he gets freed. But
I love it. The big takeaway for me is just, you're always watching the film and going, how would the audience feel while watching this? And then, okay, music is a weapon that we can use to amplify their emotions and bring it out even more. It'd be really weird if you started playing, you are feeling, wow, okay, this level of anxiety and adrenaline watching this. If you then played some calming music, that sounded like we were at the beach, right? So makes total sense. Now, let's dive into this next part and this next scene, because now we start to bring dialogue into the equation. Mm-hmm. And I know how you handle these shots is interesting unto itself, but in all of this scenes and all these action sequences, what were some of the things that you learned about working with the models? Because I know sometimes action can be tough, complex action can also, and how you even cut these shots together and how long you make them. All these things are challenging. So when you're actually inside of the movie machine looking at these shots, what were some of the things you learned? What were some of the creative decisions you had to make?
Well, there's a really good example in the shot where the rock hits him and he flies off. That was a very difficult shot to get. It would just be unrealistic, or it would just completely smash him to smithereens. I think Kling basically tore his body apart just because he got hit with one of the rocks. And That one was really difficult. I was almost going to give up, and then I finally got the magic moment and was able to get the shot to do what I wanted it to do, which was basically hit him, but don't break him, and push him. And he had to go that particular way because the next shot is from the opposite side where he has to slam into the hull on the left side. So he had to go a specific way, and that was very difficult to get him to get hit and then go the same direction that I needed him to be on. But if you watch that area right there and look at that clip, you'll see some of the ones that totally just smashed him or sent him off in a completely different direction.
So I could see it also took you 8 tries to get this shot right. How long did this shot take you roughly? Was this like a 10-minute process, an hour process, couple hours?
That one was a couple-hour process. That one was a really hard one, and I kept going back to it because I knew I could get it right. I just had to be smart about how I was doing it. And I tried all the different models on that one. VO was the worst. I think I ended up getting it to work with Kling, if I remember correctly.
Complex Kling is pretty good.
Kling is good with action. Juan is also really good, but the ones I was getting from Juan were just really smashing him. They were throwing him against the rails and flipping him off in different directions and basically spinning him. It was way too brutal for what I needed. But yeah, Juan was good. Via was not good for that particular thing at all. I could not get VO to do anything. As a matter of fact, everything I used with VO, if he had to get hit in any way, like the shot of him getting hit in the helmet, VO would always react before the hit. So you'd see him like go like this before the hit would actually even hit. And so, yeah, VO's not good for action. Kling One did the best there. They're also the ones where you can get longer clips.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot to take in here just about your mindset. First of all, a couple hours to make one shot. That's and I think what's instructive about this is that when you take the full scope of your film, the average shot did obviously not take a couple hours to make. Many of these shots were a couple minutes. But this is an important shot. It's actually beautiful when you look at it. As a reminder to folks, because there's so many shots in the film we just watched, this is the final shot here.
And of course, I added in the debris and all that kind of stuff. But
that's sick. I mean,
yeah,
this is awesome.
That took me, what did you say, 8 tries?
Yes, 8 tries. But that roughly was definitely under $25 if we add up all of it, but probably right around $20, which when you put it into perspective, although that feels like a lot for one shot, it's like at the same time, it also is like, what? That's only $20.
Right.
Imagine, doing that in real life, I couldn't even, that one shot would be thousands of dollars, if not tens of thousands of dollars.
It would be tens of thousands of dollars. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's pretty remarkable, but it's interesting to see where you started because it's the first one.
That one is VO. You can tell by the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's just not going to work. But
yeah, VO is not good with that.
So your first instinct seeing this shot was change the prompt or go change the model?
Actually both. Change the prompt, change the model, see what I can get out of the others. Because that one I think is Juan. I think Juan was the one it was so brutal. I mean, he was, poor guy. He was really getting hit.
Wow. Let's see this one. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
See, it tore his leg off. It's like, that was a bit too much. And the cord was wrong. See, it turned red. You're supposed to have a white tether, and it turned red.
Oh, that's, good catch.
So that was a continuity issue.
So then did you put in the prompt, like, okay, let's make sure it's white?
I did put white in there, yeah. I had to do that on a couple different shots. And that was also, this one, I think it's funny. I think he flips it over. He's carrying a camera all of a sudden.
We're regressing here. We want to keep making progress, but this is not going in the right direction. But that's part of it. And you keep learning. And then this shot, let's see. Is this when you went to Kling or no? We're not at Kling yet.
Well, I had in there because I wanted his feet to move more like he was being because he has these magnetic boots on, and I wanted him to be more stuck and move with more effort. And the model put these gigantic magnets on his boots that were just unrealistic, so I didn't use the shot. See, now he's over there. Do you see that? It kept wanting to put him off of the rail. I had to be very specific with the wording. I think we didn't end up using that shot because I could not get him to do what I wanted. That one blew me away. All of a sudden there was this woman and there was nothing. I could find nothing in there that caused the thing. Oh, I know what it was. Where it says right there, God damn it, Elias, get your ass in there. That is supposed to happen over the radio, but VO threw it in, because whenever VO hears audio or sees there's dialogue, it puts a face there, regardless of what I asked it to do. It will always
the
say
video
that.
input is that makes sense. The video input is for this one makes it pretty, it talks about Marisol Chen, and it makes sense, dude. Bring her up. That's so interesting.
Right.
Okay, this was, I love it. I mean, scene 1 is action packed. Then you head into scene 2 here, and scene 2 is also very interesting because we start to see a different side of the film. Let's play it. Sorry, I'm just gonna restart that section because it's been buffering a ton. I think
Helmet.
Let's go back to right here. There we go.
Helmet first. You took multiple hits. How do you feel? Telemetry shows a CO2 spike lasting just under 20 seconds.
I'm fine. The suit stabilized.
We know. We saw the recovery.
Your cognitive markers dipped during the event. Nothing dramatic, but enough to flag.
I saw something.
What?
I think it stopped.
Oh, I was on mute. My bad. Let's talk about the crying. And that threw some people off. And I think me and you we kind of knew what the intention was and maybe where it landed. But unpack what you're trying to go for there.
Well, I wanted her visibly upset because his name is Elias, and he is her love interest. And the actual love story that was supposed to take place in the thing got cut out. It cut out for time, cut out for let's get this done kind of thing. And so it never really went anywhere. And in actuality, I could go back and remove the tear and it would still make the most sense. Probably better sense now since we cut that part out. But that was the intent. I wanted her to be visibly upset, and then you find out later why she's upset.
I loved that part of the story. Ultimately, it was just a time constraint thing, and we knew that the cinematics in the beginning were super impressive, and that was nailed. And there's only so much time to be able to perfect everything. But in the future, hopefully, in a similar amount of time, we can just continue refining things like the story and have more time to work on edits even during the process. Because all this is a conversation. A lot of times you don't even know it's going to work until you see it on the timeline. Now, one thing I'll say is we've had 2 pieces of feedback to this film. Overall, people have loved it, but people have made 2 comments on what they thought could be better about it. And one of those things is actually the acting, which I think I'm actually happy, like that's where we're at now. People are commenting on the acting and we want to improve it. But I'm curious for you, how much control do you have over the facial expressions and over the emotion of characters when generating these scenes?
You have a little. It's still not to the point where you could make them sob uncontrollably and have it seem realistic. But it's getting there. I actually can't wait for the day that we can put in video to video where I can put in all of my acting and have my characters do it. I'm looking very much forward to that. But right now, it just, if you're careful about your wording, the problem is if you get too wordy, it will basically lay flat. It will be too much information for the AI to handle, and it's just going to give you a very blah performance. If you give it just like 1 or 2 hints of what you want, then you're probably going to get something better out of it. I did notice that when I was doing that scene, actually, with Jonah, there was his way of saying whatever his line is. I can't remember right now, but he said it several different ways, and the one I chose was the way that I liked it the best. But it was trying to get that forcefulness yet concern, which was difficult, because he's supposed to be above Elias, and he's supposed to be like, okay, you're going to the infirmary, basically. And that was it was difficult to get him to say it the way I wanted to. And even so, I mean, it's okay, but it's not perfect. But when we get that video, it's going to make a whole world of difference, where we'll be able to act out everything, and you're going to see everybody acting out their own stuff. I think that'll really, really nail it. I think then people won't be talking about the acting. Well, hopefully not.
Well, then it'll be our acting and
Yeah.
the creators acting. Yeah. No, I agree. I think we're not too far off from that being a reality. I think this is something that will, I mean, definitely before the end of 2026, but I actually think in the next probably 3 to 6 months, there'll be something really cool on that front. Yeah, I agree. So it's interesting to hear that, like, for now, you have some control, but it's hard to get exactly what you want, which is sometimes how it is, but it's getting better. And obviously really over time, because some things are hard to describe in words. There's just something about the emotion that someone can convey in their face that you just kind of, when you see it. And actually being able to show the AI that, and your emotions and your face and how you want it to be portrayed is definitely where this is all going. I think it's fascinating. Now, when actually doing dialogue, we've been talking about these different models. Now, eventually the movie machine in the near future is going to, instead of you have to memorize which model is best at what, we're going to probably label the models or give them a sort of, you could find out what exactly the models are, but we'll kind of label certain models as best at certain things. And one of the models that I know you used to actually get this audio was Juan. Talk to me about how you work with Juan and how you're able to get this audio for the characters to sound consistent to their voice.
Well, the way that is set up in the movie machine, that if you select Juan, then you use, well, I think he's changed it actually. Now you click the button that says skip adding dialogue, and it automatically maps it to the text of the dialogue, which it didn't used to do before. So on this one, it was you had to add the audio by either doing text to audio or feeding it the audio file. And on this one, I did text to video.
Okay, that makes total sense. I'll show folks how that flow works. So when you're actually inside of the movie machine, when you're inside, you'll go to a shot with dialogue, which, there we go.
Right.
How do you feel? So let's see. When you actually go to generate this, what you would do is click Juan. It'll change the prompt to update for the new model. Typically, there's some like limitations right now. We'll just click proceed because we want the prompt to change to the new one. And this whole flow is going to change to become simpler. So if this feels like a lot, it's going to get easier. For now, I would actually just skip explicit audio setting, because if you skip explicit audio setting, it's going to come out in that voice anyways. And right now, audio of different lengths, depending on how long your dialogue is, won't actually work with Juan. It won't run with the model, which can be very frustrating. But if you click skip explicit audio setting, will automatically adjust the length of your audio so that it always works. So always click skip explicit audio setting. We're eventually just going to take all this away, make it simpler, and you won't have to even think about any of this. But for now, at least you know how it works. So I'll generate that video purely for fun. Now, what I've noticed here with a few of these is this green screen in the background.
I did that deliberately.
Talk to me about why.
Well, when you're doing 2 different locations in one image, it's very difficult to get any model to understand that plane needs to be different. So Right now, that door leads to the corridor that they're going to walk into later. So it had to look the same. And so I was like, oh, wow, the only way I'm going to be able to do this, if I green screen that, and then when I'm editing, pop in a still frame of the corridor. So that's how I did anything where you see that, like it was kind of a beige corridor, a whitish beige corridor. I put in green screen so that I could pop that in there. And you'll see what I mean when we go to the section where she's pounding on the window. That one I did with 2 separate images as well, but I was able to get it to work, but just not as well as I would hope. I probably could have done that one, but I was running out of time. I had the week to do it, and I had to hurry up and get it done.
Let's dive in then. I want to get to that spot, and there'll be a few other fun spots. As an aside, and James, you can cut this out, I'm just going to pause because we just had a fall API error, so I'm just going to screenshot this and send it to Sasha.
Okay.
Okay, I'll send this to him. I'm back. It'd be better to log it now than later. Just get it in. I'll share the screen again. We'll go back. It's just fun. I think this is
that they should do this. The people in our user group meetings, I think that they should do this with their own.
I agree.
Help each other doing this, just what we're doing right now.
I absolutely agree. Yeah. Everyone who finishes a project should break it down.
Break it down and teach people, like, here's what I had to do for this, because it's helpful. It really is.
Let's do it. That's huge. Yeah. I'm all game for it. And we could even post on the YouTube channel, make it public. Why not? Let's spread the wealth, spread the knowledge. All right, let's keep watching. This is fun. So interesting. So I really love that sequence. Dialogue's great. Back and forth is awesome. I'm curious about a few things. One is when the characters are in conversation, you obviously are changing the camera perspective, but where they're looking really matters. How do you, one, like, what are you even looking for to make sure that characters are looking in the right places in conversation? And two, how do you make sure the movie machine does it?
That's still a difficult one, but that continuity thing that I was talking about is going to hopefully take care of all that. The issue right now in the movie machine is whenever you need to move the camera to a different location in the same space and keep the characters in the same position as they were, it gets complicated unless you know how to do it. I've said this to most of the users in the AI directors user group, that you have to give it a position and a reference. So it needs to know what and where to move the camera and what is the reference that the target reference that I am looking at. So, if I'm doing the one of him here, I would say move the camera to that circular recess on the right-hand wall and point the perpendicular to the tunnel to show the display on the other wall. So you have to give it a target reference so that it knows what it's supposed to look at. So there's several ways that you can tell it. You can tell it to give me a profile view of Elias in this position, but when you do that, you have to really explain all the different details that are in that frame so that it gets the camera movement correct, where you wanted the camera to move to. That was one of the scenes that we got cut out. That whole scene 3 got cut out.
Wow. No, I'm just knowing where you want the camera to move, I think is, yeah, that's really important. So what's happening now is with the changes that we're making at Creatorwood, a lot of what Mia described should be happening more automatically behind the scenes, that the start frames just like consistency is not always perfect, but kind of just happens. Continuity in this respect should just be happening, but it's good to still know what to look for. And what, oh, you go.
Well, when I'm looking at the scene, we put the very first frame of the scene is always a wide establishing shot so that you know where everybody is in their location, so that you can see how it's laid out, where all the things are. So when you go to change your angle to to see a different character, that you know what should be in that spot behind them. So if and which direction they're supposed to be looking. So if you get that wrong, you're gonna know it right away, because it's just not gonna look right.
Yeah, that's the big thing too, is just where characters are looking is where the audience is going to pay attention to. So that's the biggest thing. And you definitely want to make sure too that when the movie machine gives you something, let's say you have two actions or a conversation having back to back, you want to make sure that you're really thinking about it, because there's the technical side of it, and understanding like, and having worked in filmmaking is very helpful. You have worked in it for decades. You are an expert. But even just thinking about it from the viewer's perspective of, if I'm standing here, not watching the film, but actually in the scene, if I'm in the room with them and I'm looking back and forth and looking around at what's playing in front of me, what do I expect to happen? What is the orientation that would make sense? And if that doesn't make sense what you're seeing, if it throws you off for whatever reason, that's something to look into and think about, well, wait, yeah, if I was literally there in a 3D world, just looking at this happening, this wouldn't make sense. Then it's like, cool, we should fix it.
If you abide by the 180 rule, which means you do not cross over that, if the person is on the left-hand side of the screen, then they're going to remain on that left-hand side of the screen. You can't all of a sudden have them on the right side of the screen, or people won't know where you are anymore. And also, it's just going to look wrong.
Yep, unless they walk across.
Yes, you have to physically see them move in your video. Otherwise, you can't have them on the other side.
I have a question about this profile shot here.
Mm-hmm.
When thinking about cast and consistency in their faces, how do different camera angles and camera distances affect character consistency? And what do you do to get around that?
Okay, so for anything really small in the frame, like for instance, this picture behind me here, you can't see the person's face because there's not enough pixel information, right? And yeah, you would never be able to see that image. And if you are asking the movie machine to zoom into that, they're not going to know what that looks like. The models are going to make that bigger and it'll zoom in, but it may not be your character, because all that pixel information is right there. It doesn't know what's in that. So when it gets to here and it's big, it could be completely a different face. So anytime what I've discovered in working with this is, if you want something to zoom in really fast, start at least where they're at least this size in the frame, so that you can get to their face and have it look exactly like your character. And the other thing is, if you really need to zoom in to something really close, if your shot is like their eyes and you want it to start from way back there, then do it backwards. That's what I did for a couple of stuff where I had to have a character go into a portal, or I know he had to come out of a portal, and the movie machine kept giving me different images because it had no idea what the person looked like, because he wasn't in the frame. And so I did it backwards. I had him step backwards through the portal, and then I ran it in reverse.
Yes,
that helps.
Yep. That's big.
But
that's a big one.
Just know this right here, it has to know what that looks like. Otherwise, you're going to get somebody completely different.
Yeah, no, that the reverse is such a good hack for like, wait, I literally have the end of my shot looking different from the beginning because there's new characters, new props coming into it. It's like start from the end.
Yeah,
that's really good. And eventually, the hope would be that start and end frames work as expected and can be super reliable, because I know that would help in those instances as well. Just be a simpler fix.
That, and there's another thing that I've talked to Sashva about putting in, but it's still, we try to make it as easy as possible, and I understand Sashva's resistance to putting that in just yet, because we don't want to overwhelm people with things that they have to do to get a shot to happen. So in order for that to happen, where you don't see me, and then all of a sudden I'm in and I look like me, that has to happen with a different model, a different way to bring in more images. And I think that's putting a lot on the user. Unless they know what they're doing, they're going to get even more confused. And we don't want to do that to people. We want to make it just completely user friendly and give them, we want to make that systematizable before we put it in, if that makes sense. So that you don't have to worry about the minutia of, okay, well, I need to put in an extra film here or an extra image here because I need him to come into the frame, and you need to know what he looks like. So there's so many different ways that you could do that would completely baffle somebody who's using this. So we don't want to do that. We want to make it easy, and we're trying to make it super easy.
Super easy is the plan.
That's the plan.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of good progress in that front too, so that in the very near future, you'll be able to spend a lot less time and need to know a lot less about using the movie machine to get something in your story looking just as good, if not even better, than Saturn's rings.
It will be better, definitely.
Yeah, it's only going to...
This is right now how the movie machine is now. Wait until the models get better, the process is easier, and the quality is just going to go through the roof.
It's going to be something. Let's dive back in and let's keep watching, because we're getting close to the final bit here, but the ending is, there's a few interesting things to cover. Wow. So much to unpack there. Let's start with, how did you even, like, there was so much happening, so much special effects in those ending shots. And folks often ask, like, do I need to do something special to make special effects? What do the prompts need to do? Like, how did you approach, like, there was a lot of wild stuff in those final scenes.
Yeah. Prompting the special effects is actually getting easier and easier. Him dissolving into the matrixy digits and stuff, that was a little difficult. Models don't tend to understand disintegration very well. You have to be very careful about wording it. It's basically, you need to use different words that mean the same thing. If you want to go to that, I can point that out. But the special effects themselves are getting really easy to you just have to, whatever you can think about, put it in there, see what you get. And if it's not giving you exactly, think about other words that you can use that maybe mean similar, but maybe even nail it more than the words you're using, because that whole disintegration thing, very difficult to achieve. We found that in another project where the space around them was basically dissolving into nothing, and the only thing left was the pilot, and that was also really difficult.
And then the disintegration.
Yes, see the disintegration into my goal was to, like, make the entire thing into digits, like the matrix kind of digits. Do you see how it took him and made him almost like fading? That was a whole different one. I didn't use that one because it wasn't the look I was going for. You see how it went, the one above that, how it went to straight digits like that, but it was not understanding that I wanted the plane itself to be digits, not so that took some doing. It finally was able to do it, but if you notice, I did not use that shot either. But that one, how many shots are in this? 41. I think you have to go up to the ones that I actually used. It's see the different things it was doing.
Oh wow.
There's a lot of different ones that one I think was getting close. No, not that one. It was a different white one. There we go. Try that one. See, it's a different person.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's funny. That one was funny. Let's see.
That was the warp speed I was trying to get, and it just would make digits. But him disintegrating into digit was very difficult to get. Anything disintegrating really is difficult. You have to be very specific with your words.
Yeah, I see. There's so much. Yeah, and a lot of these I'm seeing that you generated the start frame and didn't go forward with the video, What makes you decide whether you're going to go from start frame to video or not?
Well, when doing these in particular, there's a lot of redundant shots that I didn't need. And also I picked the one that I had the least amount of work to do to get the camera angle correct. So like the ones that I didn't use, you could tell that I didn't use them because they were just the wrong camera angle. And it was easier just to use one that was already the right camera angle. So I wanted to speed up because, yeah, I was, you know, on day 5, I was like, okay, we got to just get this done.
No, that makes total sense. And basically using the movie machine to go, okay, start frames are cheaper than, you know, generating the shots. So let's see what start frames it gives us first try. And then if we go, okay, I don't actually need all 3 of these shots, let's just pick the one that's going to be easiest to do and then generate video for that. You end up saving money and saving time rather than not generating the start frames and not seeing what shots are best. You might as well spend the coin or two to do that because it's just not that bad compared to making.
And a lot of times the movie machine will give me angles I didn't think about. And I'm like, oh, that's better. I like that. Let me just go with that. So yeah, I would definitely, I know a lot of people like to do it one at a time, and I was a stickler for that. I wanted that added really badly because when I would get one wrong, the rest of them would be wrong. So I wanted individual, but then I started realizing consistency really goes away when you're doing them one at a time. So doing start frames, if you make sure that everything is verbal, everything is good, then you can run the whole scene shots. And because if you look, there's 41 shots. If they're wrong, that means I gotta fix 41 shots, right? So I have to go through every single one of those and make sure the wording is correct so that I get what I am expecting. And you know, if you do this for a while, you're gonna get good and you're gonna like figure it out and you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, I know that's gonna give me a good shot. And you can be a little bit more confident in being able to do 41 shots in one take and not have to think, oh God, I'm gonna have to fix 41 shots. Now, chances are you'll have to maybe fix a handful, maybe 4 or 5.
Totally. Yeah, I love that approach. Look at your shot list, make sure it's good, get it into a place you're happy with, and then generate your start frames. And you can just do them all at once because you don't need to. You're right. It's hard to look at a start frame in isolation and be like, is this good or bad? Because you really need to look for the start frames is the continuity, not just the consistency. And by nature, you're not going to understand that if you don't look at these shots in sequence and actually understand how they flow together, which is, yeah, it's part of just seeing it laid out in front of you.
Go to the other look, not the shot cards, but the scroll all the way up and go to that other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the frames view. If you go to the frames view, that helps tremendously. So you can really see all the shots that you can work with. Yeah, you can make however many you want across. You know, if you want to see them really small, you can drag that thing way up. But it helps you see like what kind of shots you're working with, where you're going to need shots in between. If you really want to use 2 shots of the same angle, you're going to need something in between so that you don't have a jump cut. So that is, to me, it's like looking at a contact sheet of your scene, and I really enjoy that because that helps me see visually all the shots I have. I know exactly, and as soon as you click on it, it goes to the shot. So that it just, to me, it's a faster way to work.
I love it. It's awesome. What else would you say after going through the experience of Saturn's rings would you share with someone as a takeaway, as a learning?
Just really, like, I've said this many times, but be very detailed in your descriptions of things. And that way you'll get what you want and you won't have to have so many changes. But also just be patient. You're learning this right now. So be patient with yourself. Don't get frustrated because it's every mistake you make, every mistake you make, you're going to learn something from it. You're going to learn, oh, I shouldn't have said that. That one word threw me off. Okay, I'll remember that next time. And you will. You'll remember, I can't use that kind of word there. That's going to screw me up. And pretty soon you'll be able to read these almost like, you know, the Matrix. You read the Matrix and you can just like visualize what it is, and you'll be able to get there pretty soon. It won't take long either. It took me a couple weeks to really learn it and understand what it was about. And it might take people longer because they're not in it as much as me. I'm in it all day long. So
I think in a month we've seen people get really good at it, and we hope to be able to bring that timeline down and make it even easier for people to onboard. But yeah, definitely within a month. And I'd say the biggest thing I've seen with people is it's hard to know until you see it, meaning go generate video. Just your first couple shots, just your first scene. You don't need to go spend $1,000 in video, but go and generate those first few, because what you start to realize very quickly is, okay, wait, what went well, what didn't? Then you go look at your star frames. You go, oh, okay, I see what went maybe right or wrong here. And then you go look at the actual text, the action, the dialogue, and you start to go, oh, I see how this made this star frame. Or even now go to the casts, go to your locations, go to your props. Oh, I see how this made this. But it's very hard when you just see this and go, what am I doing? Where am I trying to get to actually know how it all fits together? So I would give yourself the grace to go and make a scene, whether it's good, bad, or somewhere in between. Just getting something out is going to help you learn this skill and get really good at movie making. If you don't go through and then go in it with the eyes of how did this happen, and try and reverse engineer what it took to get there, because then you can make your next scene better, and your next scene better, and your next scene better.
And also just like I like to edit as I go, and that way by the time I'm done, I'm actually done with a rough cut. So I like to put, when I'm done with creating the videos for one scene, I will go straight to making the video, the actual scene, into a video in my editor, so that I can see how the movie's flowing. And it actually gets me all wound up. I'm like, oh yeah, this is looking good. Okay, just keep going. So
yeah.
And also, if you're doing this on a tight budget, you can at least get a couple scenes out and have something to show, you know, to get more money, you know, get people interested. So use it as a tool for, you know, helping you raise the funds. Are we doing the fund thing on Creatorwood? Yes, that's
we're going to be doing crowdfunding so that you can share your film idea, a trailer, a few scenes, or just, again, your film idea. And from there, have fans and people who just want to see that story come to life support you. And they'll basically be paying for early access to your film, so you can charge anywhere from, and really any amount of money you want, and people can go back you and support you and help bring your film to life. So that's what we're doing. And Creatorwood's not going to take any fees from it. So you'll be able to, you know, use every dime back on making your films come to life. That's our goal.
Yeah, I like that a lot, because that is part of it. Just in filmmaking alone, it's always money that's an issue. Always. First and foremost, you got to have the funds. And if you don't, you know, we can help you raise the funds. I like that. That's going to be a huge winner for me.
We're very excited. I'm going to back your film. Yeah. Whatever.
I can't wait. I've got so many that I want to do, and having this tool is just, it's made me so much happier as a human being, just knowing that I have a creative outlet for all the stuff that I've written all these years and want to see come to life. And I want you to do one of your own books. You've got several books. I would love to see you doing one of those.
One of these days it will happen. When there's like, I think literally once we get the new version of the Movie Machine out, I'm going to start going in and doing it. I think finally give it another maybe 2 to 3 months, and I'll start working on mine. That'll be on my off time, because I want to just be in the Movie Machine too.
I heard Sasha's going to make one too. That I can't wait for. I don't know. He won't share that information with me. He just said, your boy's going to make a film. I'm like, okay, let's see it.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing it. I want to do the whole thing inside the Movie Machine too. So mostly end to end. We'll see if that's accomplished or not. But yeah, I definitely want to start my own film career in the next couple months.
Nice.
And I'm really excited. Yeah, I finally think that's like, we're finally in a place to be able to do it. So
yeah, let's do it. I'm all for it. I can't wait. I've been holding off on this one particular one because it's basically a sequel. It's got 3 parts to it, and it's going to require many hours in the movie machine, but it will be something that I think people will really like. It's not going to share any details because it's going to be a big surprise.
Top secret. Let's go. I'm excited. I think we'll all love it, and we'll have to do another director's commentary when it happens.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely.
Well, Mia, thank you so much for being here today. And thank you everyone for watching. Y'all should subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet. This is where you can actually see all the action, and share this video with a friend if you think it'll help them out. There's lots of new things happening in AI filmmaking right now, but nothing is quite like the movie machine, where you're able to have this full ecosystem to support you and help you bring your story to life. So you should share this with them. This is a great intro to the movie machine, and we're going to be doing a lot more of this. So if you have a project in the movie machine that you've created, and you actually want to come on to the podcast and share about it and share how you brought it to life, we'd love to have you on. So send us an email or just drop your link to your project in the comments, and we'll be in touch with you. And as always, don't forget, storytellers rule the world.